Hey everyone, hope you're doing okay on this Friday, this spring at Oakdale Physical Therapy and Fitness. And I'm Doc Canuto. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, just put in my name, JOHNKONIUTO, to subscribe to my channel, and you can get updates on when my new videos are posted. Today's video will be about mobility again. If you didn't pick up on the pattern of my videos, the topics go from mobility to talking about stability, back to mobility, and with that I will talk about using a foam roller. It's a pretty ubiquitous tool that just about everyone might have either in their home or access to once the gym's open again. It's a tool that can be used to help improve range of motion and flexibility, decrease pain, reduce stiffness decrease pain by reducing stiffness, and in terms of the golf game, focus on the key mobility centers. So I have two foam rollers here. The black one is a high density or harder one. The white is a medium density or softer one. And you should use the density of foam that you can actually tolerate relatively comfortably without being in too much discomfort. So I'm going to start by showing you how to improve mobility in the key areas of the body, starting with the upper cervical spine for rotation, extension, and flexion. So you can use the lighter one here, and if you feel for the knobs on the bottom of your skull, there's one on the right and one on the left. You can roll side to side, and typically this area is stiff, so you want to go rather slow to calm it down or down regulate the tone. You can stay on one and nod your head up and down to be on the right suboccipital prominence and then the left suboccipital prominence. How many times should you do an area? 10 to 15 times is a good number to start with. Then you're going to move down to the thoracic spine. That is the upper back between the bottom of the rib cage, above the lumbar spine or low back, all the way up to the top of the shoulder blades. So don't go so high that you end up falling off or the foam pops out from under you. Okay, and you might feel some snaps and cracks, which is normal. It's just your bony surfaces rubbing against each other, loosening up. The key to this one is keeping your rear end touching or brushing the ground and trying to lean over it with your upper back, because the typical posture or position that we're always in is hunched forward, looking at our devices, sitting with improper posture, trying to fight against gravity. So we want to reverse that bad posture by going in the opposite direction, opening up the chest, getting more thoracic extension. Now this thoracic area is designed and should be mobile so that we have good posture and so that we can get good shoulder turn when we're golfing. Okay? As we age and we get stuck in that kyphotic or hunched position, we end up closing or getting stiffer in that area, and that reduces our shoulder turn. The next key mobility center besides the upper neck and the upper back would be the hips. So there's the front of the hips, the hip flexors, which get tight because we're always sitting. The IT bands, which are down on the sides of the thighs, which get tight because we're sitting with our legs apart. And the rear end, the back of the hips, known as the gluteal muscles, those get actually shut down or hypoactive or deactivated because, again, we're sitting on them, not using them enough. These are the muscles that hold our trunk up or extend our spine. And in the golf, in terms of golf, it helps us maintain our spine angle and improves or guides our hip rotation, which of course should be leading or starting our swing. So to get the hip flexors, we'll move to the higher density foam. You're going to put it right under a bony prominence in your hip. You can use a pad for your elbows if you need to, but I'm biasing or preferring to keep that pressure on the right side. And again, we want to go slow to calm down or reduce the stiffness here. 10 or 15 times when you do it. You can even go as far as the top of the thigh. So I'm working on my right side here. I'm offsetting my weight with my right elbow, my left hand, and my left foot. There's another method called pinning and stretching where if I find a spot that is very stiff, I can sit on it and bend and straighten my leg. And then I'll go right to the IT band, which is between the bony prominence of your hip down to the side of the knee. And again, I'm driving my movement with my right arm, my left hand, my other foot. And if I find a sticky spot or an extra sensitive spot, I can stop on it and bend and straighten my knee on that leg. Those sticky spots I call fun spots because I'm a fun guy and a funny guy. But really what we're doing is not breaking up scar tissue. We are actually improving the slide and glide of the multiple layers of soft tissue at their interfaces. So you have your skin, you have your superficial fascia, deep fascia, and finally muscle. And if you think about them as layers in a cake, we want to try and get those layers disassociating and sliding and gliding relative to one another. The last area I mentioned is the gluteal area, so that's just below your pelvic bone here, or your belt line, all the way down to your sit bone. So you can actually put it on stretch by putting your hip in a rotated position like so. Roll up and down. You want to go rather quickly here at times to wake that area up, upregulate the tissue tone. And again, you can pin and stretch by holding it there and pulling and pushing the hip in and out of rotation. So to recap, the upper cervical spine, the thoracic spine, the hips, and finally the ankles is the last key mobility center. And for that, I'm going to slide my rear end on the floor and try and put as much pressure on my calves as I can, because those are the muscles that actually pump the ankles up and down, or actually down. Up would be the shins. But again, you can use the same concept on this area. If I want to put more pressure on the right side, I can just take my left leg and put it on my right leg and focus on my right calf. And then finally, if I want to pin and stretch, I'll find a fun spot, apply pressure, pin it down, and pump that ankle up and down. Okay, so calves, hips, thoracic spine, upper neck are the key mobility centers that you can use a foam roller to help improve your mobility, therefore improve your range of motion and flexibility for the golf swing. Again, subscribe to John Canuto on YouTube, and you will get my next video, which will focus on stability again. Thank you.